Meme stocks took the world by storm in early 2021, but have been fairly quiet over the past 6 months. Now, tons of upper management executives at one of the most popular meme stocks are selling off major positions. Does this mean that you should unload your shares as well? Or is this actually a perfect opportunity to buy the dip? In this video, I'll help you answer these questions as best as I possibly can. It's crazy to think that this time last year, the phrase meme stock didn't even exist. Now it's considered an entire class of stock. These so-called meme stocks generally have a cult-like following and are known to fluctuate wildly in value. There's no doubt that some investors get into these stocks purely for the get-rich-quick potential. However, other people actually see these companies as underappreciated and are in them for the long run. AMC is usually considered one of the meme stocks that is really an underappreciated company. If you haven't already guessed it, this is the stock that we'll be analyzing in today's video. Unfortunately for AMC, hold on for dear lifers. AMC stock has lost 50% of its value over the past 6 months. On top of this, recent SEC filings show that insiders are selling large boatloads of stock. By the way, one of the best ways to stay on top of AMC news is actually just to follow their CEO, Adam Aron. He's a super active tweeter. He's constantly tweeting updates related to AMC's business. I'm going to be honest, Adam Aron is also pretty funny guy. He's more of a Dave Portnoy-style CEO that prefers to tweet out his thoughts to the masses instead of scheduling a super official news conference. Like when Spider-Man No Way Home was doing high numbers at the box office, he tweeted, "The self-absorbed, all-knowing, so often wrong convention wisdom that streaming will defeat theaters just does not know how to process the news of the $253 million domestic opening of Spider-Man. Choke on that." Like, there you go, Aaron. Let the haters know. Talk about a perfect culture fit for a meme stock. He also tweets out plenty kind of funny random stuff, like that time he went to a Sixers game. I personally always like to support people over the age of 60 that are social media enthusiasts, so I'd recommend giving him a follow. If you don't have his Twitter feed, then you can always give this YouTube channel a quick subscribe. That's a fair compromise. Just tap the bell notification to get alerted of new stock-related videos. You're practically guaranteed to learn something new about stocks investing and making money. Now let's talk about the execs that are selling insider stock. First off, I know that AMC investors tend to be passionate. I'm just here to deliver news, and I'm not trying to tear down AMC, so please don't come for my head in the comments if I say something negative. I also got the following info mainly from NASDAQ.com, so feel free to go ahead and fact-check me. Now to start, back in November, CEO Adam Aron sold 9.65 million in shares as part of his estate planning. He warned investors ahead of time that this move was totally unrelated to his opinion on AMC. The poor dude should be retired already and is just trying to get his affairs in order. This move is probably not really worth dissecting. Later on, December 7th, he sold another 312,500 shares at $30.87 per share. He continues to hold around 96,000 shares and has about 2.9 million shares that he can earn in the future based on whether or not he hits performance targets. At the same time, CFO Sean Goodman also unloaded 18,316 shares at $30.86 per share. This was the rest of the CFO's stake in AMC. Even though Adam Aron warned investors that he was going to sell, I think it was a little more than people were expecting. This could be a small reason why the stock has fallen as much as it has. Also, remember that stock prices fluctuate based on supply and demand. When huge holders of a stock rush to sell all at once, the total number of shares for sale can become much bigger than the number of buyers. This can cause the stock's price to drop. However, this was likely not the case with AMC, since the shares that Aron unloaded were only about 1% of the total shares traded that day. Besides the CEO and CFO, there were a few other top execs that sold stock during November and December. They were Senior VP Daniel Ellis. He sold 26,667 shares. CFO Sean Goodman sold another 54,950 shares. Executive VP Elizabeth sold 35,000 shares. Chief Accounting Officer Chris Cox sold 18,250 shares. Senior VP Daniel Ellis sold 59,360 shares. And Chief Content Officer Elizabeth Frank sold 79,087 shares. In total, there have been 16 instances of insider buying over the past 12 months compared to 70 instances of insider selling. This is also not an exhaustive list. If you want to see who else is selling, all of this info is publicly available. So, what does this mean for AMC stock? Well, let's take a look. The thing with insider selling is that it implies that the management team does not have faith in the stock long term. This is pretty much just basic logic. If the CFO thought that his shares for AMC stock were going to be worth more in 1, 3, or 5 years from now, well, why would he sell them, right? It would make much more sense for him to hold or even buy more. If the CFO owned a substantial position, even a small increase in the stock's price can lead to another $100,000 in net worth. On the other hand, if he thought that the stock was currently overvalued, then it would make a lot of sense for him to cash out now before the stock crashes. This is why insider selling of a stock is usually not a great sign. It could mean that execs have lost faith in the company. But it's important to remember that people sell stock for all types of different reasons. In the CEO's case, he is just trying to prepare his estate for when it steps down. As for the other executives, there are plenty of reasons why they might sell. To name a few, Joe Biden is expected to raise taxes on the wealthy. This means that lots of major stockholders are selling now to avoid paying a higher capital gains tax in the future. The Federal Reserve is expected to raise interest rates, which could trigger a correction or a market slowdown. The insiders who are selling might be planning to leave for a different company or just want to sell for personal reasons. Remember that every investor also has a different risk tolerance. Due to this, it might make sense for someone else to sell their stock, but that doesn't mean it makes sense for you. So finally, on to the biggest question. Should you sell, hold, or buy more AMC stock? AMC is one of the hardest stocks to dissect because it's not really impacted by reason. There's honestly no telling when its price could turn around again and begin to rally. AMC's core business has still been struggling, but it has definitely still been making some aggressive moves. Notably, AMC has begun accepting cryptocurrency for movie tickets, launching NFTs along with its movie releases, is actively buying more theaters in prime locations, and has even started selling its own line of popcorn. On top of that, Spider-Man: No Way Home smashed box office records, which is good for the industry overall. On opening day, a record 1.1 million people attended on opening day at U.S. theaters. It's currently only behind Avengers Endgame in terms of the largest box office openings ever. However, its income statements are still struggling, and there is still a huge risk that the world will shut down again due to COVID-19 variant strains. If this happens, it could crush AMC for good. As with most investments, the final decision will come down to evaluating the risks, potential rewards, and deciding if you feel comfortable with what could happen. The one thing that I would recommend is not letting insider selling influence your opinion too heavily. As I mentioned, insiders sell stock for all sorts of different reasons, and usually their reasons have little to do with the future of the company. I would also discourage any viewers from buying and selling in and out of AMC stock frequently. This is almost a guaranteed way to lose money. If you're going to be in, be in. If you want to sell and watch from the sidelines, then you can totally do that too. If you found this video valuable, please be sure to follow the very first link in the video description below and subscribe to my newsletter. By subscribing, you'll receive my most valuable tips for investing, any potential stock picks that I come across, and more informative content similar to what you've just watched. Most importantly, I don't believe in sending automated emails or spamming my subscribers. Instead, you can trust that each email that I send will be filled to the brim with valuable information that's sure to make you a better investor. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.